regulated to a large extent by varying the amount of blood flowing through the skin. The fingers, the toes, the palms, and the earlobes contain well-innervated anastomotic connection between arterioles and venules. Blood flow in response to thermoregulatory stimuli and can vary from 1 to as much as 150 ml or 100 grams of skin, and it has been postulated that these variations are possible because blood can be shunted through the anastomosis. The subdermal capillary and venous plexus is a blood reservoir of some importance, and the skin is one of the few places where the reactions of blood vessels can be observed visually. White reaction is when a pointed object is drawn lightly over the skin and the stroke lines becomes pale. The mechanical stimulus apparently initiates contraction of the precapillary sphincters and blood drains out of the capillaries and small veins. The response appears in about 15 seconds. When the skin is stroked more firmly with a pointed instrument, instead of the white reaction, there is reddening at the site that appears in about 10 seconds. And this is what we call the red reaction. This is followed by local swelling and diffuse mottled reddening around the injury. The initial redness is due to capillary dilation, a direct response of the capillaries to pressure. The swelling, or wheal, is a local edema due to increased permeability of the capillaries and postcapillary venules with consequent extravasation of fluid. The redness spreading out from the injury or flare is due to arteriolar dilation. This three-part response, the red reaction, wheal, and flare, is called the triple response and is part of the normal reaction to injury. It persists after total sympathectomy. On the other hand, the flare is absent in locally anesthetized skin and is denervated skin after the sensory nerves have degenerated, but it is present immediately after nerve block or secretion above the site of the injury. This, plus other evidence, indicates that it is due to an action reflex, a response in which impulses initiated in sensory nerves by the injury are relayed antidromically down other branches of the sensory nerve fibers. This is the one situation in the body in which there is substantial evidence for a physiologic effect due to antidromic conduction. Response of the blood vessels that occurs in many organs but is visible in the skin. An increase in the amount of blood in a region when its circulation is re-established after a period of occlusion. When the blood supply to a limb is occluded, the cutaneous arterioles below the occlusion dilate. When the circulation is re-established, blood flowing into the dilated vessels makes the skin finely red. Oxygen in the atmosphere can diffuse a short distance through the skin, and reactive hyperemia is prevented if the circulation of the limb occluded in an atmosphere of 100% oxygen. Therefore, the arteriolar dilation is apparently due to a local effect of hypoxia. Noradrenergic nerve stimulation and circulating epinephrine and norepinephrine constrict cutaneous blood vessels. No known vasodilator nerve fibers extend to the cutaneous vessels, and thus, vasodilation is brought about by a decrease in constrictor tone as well as the local production of vasodilator metabolites. Skin color and temperature also depend on the state of the capillaries and venules. A cold blue or gray skin is one in which the arterioles are constricted and capillaries are dilated. A warm red skin is one in which both are dilated. Because painful stimuli cause diffuse noradrenergic discharge, a painful injury causes generalized cutaneous vasoconstriction in addition to triple response. When body temperature rises during exercise, the cutaneous vessels in response to a rise in hypothalamic temperature overcomes other reflex activity. Cold causes cutaneous vasoconstriction. However, with severe cold, superficial vasodilation may supervene. This vasodilation is the cause of ruddy complexion seen on a cold day.
mom's blood kind of pooling in this area, and the baby or the fetus actually stick its capillaries inside of that placenta. And as you can see in that photo, that the purplish blood actually is kind of going in, and the reddish blood is kind of coming out. So oxygen is getting picked up, and it's actually getting oxygenated, and this blood is joining into this blood vessel called the umbilical vein. So umbilical vein is actually going to carry oxygen and blood towards the liver area. So once the blood goes into the umbilical vein, that can either go to the right or to the left, and if it goes to the left, it's going to enter the liver. And it has to go through all the capillaries in the liver and then merge on the other side, but there is a shortcut, and that shortcut is called ductus venosus. And the ductus venosus is basically going to allow the blood to go from the umbilical vein through it. And on the other side, it hits and meets up with our inferior vena cava. So the inferior vena cava meets up with the blood coming from the umbilical vein, and that blood dumps into the right atrium, and simultaneously, the blood from the superior vena cava ends up in the right atrium. Now the blood is in the right atrium, and it has a couple of options. First, it could simply go down into the right ventricle, going to the pulmonary artery, and once that blood approaches the lungs, now this is a part of fetal respiration. So inside of that lungs are the sacs, air sacs that are actually not full of air, because when the baby or the fetus is still inside of the uterus, it's full of fluid, and that means there's not much oxygen. So now, there is a process called hypoxic pulmonary vasoconstriction. It means that the alveolus literally tries to help constrict the arteriole. And because there is no oxygen, the alveolus is going to cause that little arteriole to basically contract down and eventually increase the resistance. If that's the case, if there's a lot of resistance, then the pressure in the pulmonary artery is going to go very high, as well as in the right side of the heart. So because of this pressure, a little blood flow starts going from the right atrium across the foramen valve that allows blood to go to the left atrium. Now from the left atrium, blood is going to go down into the left ventricle, and it's going to contract, and the blood goes to the aorta and will distribute to all the way down. Moreover, there is a part here called the ductus arteriosus, and it allows the blood to go from the pulmonary artery to the aorta. But remember that the pulmonary artery has a very high pressures, and this is because of high resistance in the lungs. So because of high pressure, the blood goes to the aorta where there is a lower pressure. So a lot of blood goes into the pulmonary artery trunk, ends up going into the aorta and not into the lungs because of the high resistance. Then, the blood is going into the internal iliac arteries, and its major branch is what we call the umbilical artery that brings the blood back towards the placenta. The blood will go to the placenta or to the umbilical arteries because it has a very low resistance. So we know that the adult hemoglobin has 4 units, and there isn't just one type of hemoglobin, and the main one has a couple of alpha units and a couple of beta units. Now, on the fetus side has a little different. So it has a couple of alpha unit and a couple of gamma unit instead of beta unit. So oxygen is going to bind in both of the hemoglobin, and both adult and fetus can bind 4 oxygens. Now, inside of red blood cells, there is a little molecule called 2,3-diphosphoglycerate or 2,3-DPG, and it actually helps the red blood cell get rid of oxygen. This is how the little molecule will bind between the units of adult hemoglobin, particularly in beta cells. Then the shape of the molecule changes, so the oxygens will move up. So basically, it doesn't make it easier for the oxygen to be released from the hemoglobin. However, on the thick side, the gamma subunits basically doesn't need the 2,3-DPG molecules, and as a result, those molecules of hemoglobin don't get rid of oxygen nearly as easily as the adult hemoglobin does. Now at any point, let's say I just a random point here and I just the same point here. So this is the same oxygen saturation. Low level of 2,3-DPG, now all of a sudden that molecule is going to stay bound to hemoglobin, will be bound by oxygen. Now, think back to the idea of the fetal hemoglobin. Remember, it has a gamma unit, and the gamma unit doesn't like 2,3-DPG. So the blue one represents mother, and the red one represents fetus, and the white one looking at the point wherein 8% of the hemoglobin molecules are bound to the oxygen when pressure of oxygen is about 30. And for the fetus, this same kind of point reaching the 8% of the saturation when the partial pressure is about 20. For a lower partial pressure of oxygen, the baby or the fetus is able to accomplish the same thing the adult can accomplish at only higher amount of oxygen in the blood.